Shalom. I am recording this as we are in the middle of the coronavirus COVID-19 lockdown, and hopefully this will give us a chance to connect with God more. And because of that, I thought maybe we could talk about some of the things that the Bible says about healing. These verses I thought were important ones to talk about. This is Exodus 15:26, and it says, "Vayomer im shamoa tishme'u leqol havaya elokecha, v'hayashar be'enav ta'aseh, v'hazanta lemitzvotav, v'shamarta kol chukav, kol hamachale asher samti b'mitzrayim, lo asim alecha, ki ani havaya rofecha." Right? So what it says is Vayomer. So that's the conjunctive vav. The yud puts the verb into the imperfect, but it's getting flipped because of that vav at the beginning. And the root here is aleph mem resh, to say. So God said, im, if, shamoa tishme'u. So the roots here for both of them are shin mem ayin, which means to listen. They're translating it as heed, and we have the double, the repetitious language here, which usually gets translated as very or diligently, right? So if listen, you shall listen, right? Shamoa is, they're calling it the infinitive absolute. This is with a vav written b'milui if you're keeping track of when its words are written completely. If you shall listen, right? And this is in the imperfect, right? The taf at the beginning tells you that it's in the imperfect, meaning the incomplete action, right? So you have the infinitive and then the future tense. So if you shall surely listen, oftentimes they use the word surely, but it's literally, if listen, you shall listen. Le'kol, so that's the prepositional lamed, with kol being voice, here written again b'milui, as it often is, but not always. Havaya is the tetragrammaton, right? So this is in a construct form, voice of Havaya, right, of God. Elokecha, right? And this is the Shem Elokut, right? Elokim, right? But here it's with the chaf at the end, your God, right? So if you shall listen if you shall surely listen to the voice of the Lord your God, v'hayashar. So conjunctive vav, the hey here is the article. Yashar, yud shin resh, means straight, but here it obviously means correct, right? But literally it means straight. If and yashar, and that which is straight, that which is right, be'enav. So that is the prepositional bet, with the word here is einayim, right, which means eyes, but with the vav at the end puts it in the third person masculine singular, in his eyes, hayashar be'enav, and this shows up several times in the Bible, I believe. What is right in his eyes, ta'aseh. So the taf again puts it in the imperfect. The root here is ayin sin he, which is to do or to make or to even create sometimes. right? But here to do, and what is right in his eyes you shall do, right? V'hazanta, right? So this is in the Hifil. Yeah, I guess I have to agree with that. Um, it's in the perfect, in the completed form, but the vav at the beginning. There's a conjunctive vav at the beginning, which is flipping it to the future. The root is aleph zayin nun. You might actually say that this is hofal, not the hifil. Yeah, I actually I'm gonna have to disagree with them. I'm gonna say this is lashon hofal. We'll look at the we'll look here stem the hofal, right? That's what it appears to me to be. Is the passive form of the hifil stem in the formation. Um, it appears to be hofal, the hazanta. Hmm. You know what? You might want to play with that. It seems like the whole file here. Let's put it in the constructor and see. So we have this constructor here, and the root would be aleph zayin nun, right? And they're saying it's in the hifil. So let's look at it. Hazanta, right? Which would be this right here, right? The second person has hezanta. They have hezanta. Let's see what the actual word is. Hazanta. Not exactly, although it right there is no yud even though it's in the hefil. Let me see if the what the constructor says, because you'll notice that the hazanta, these are with segols here, so it's he'ezanta as opposed to ha'azanta, right? Which is how it's appearing in with these patachs here, right? Ha'azanta. Let's see how it does it with the hofal. Does it have hoof? Well, so it doesn't have a hofal here. It has the hufal. Let's see what the hufal looks like. Yeah. See, well, okay. These also they're not they're with kamatz, which is closer to which is closer in my estimation to the patach, ha'azanta, and yeah, let's see what it says about the hufal. Lush on the stem hufal. Uh, yeah, I guess it's using hofal here and hufal as the same. Um, yeah, I guess that's, yeah, I guess it does seem, it seems to me that the hofal is the correct form. Um, every form in the hofal is either with a kamatz chatuf or kubutz. Um, so, I mean, hmm. So they're saying the hofal would always, it wouldn't be with the patach the way it is here, right? Well, ultimately it means you shall listen, but it's you might want to look into that more. How exactly it means you shall listen. Give ear, yeah, that makes sense. Um, anyway, the ha'azanta, right, which is in the future tense, there is the conjunctive vav there, but I'm going to say in context, it's not actually flipping it to the past tense. Let's look at the. Yeah, this is. Oh, I'm sorry. It's in the past tense, so it is flipping it. Yes. Okay. Sorry. I'm trying to understand what's going on here. I'm not exactly sure. There is the constructor. You can look at the various forms on this page and make excuse me. Yeah, they seem to be agreeing. He feel it's the causative, right? You shall cause to hear. Vehazanta. Yeah, let's go with what they're saying. It's the he feel in the conjunctive perfect. Okay. Sorry about that. And you shall listen le mitzvotav, right? So prepositional lamed mitzvot, right? Is the root here is tzadik vav he, tzava, to command, and mitzvot are the commandments, right? We have this a lot. Mitzvotav are his commandments, right? That yud is telling you that it's in the plural because it's mitzvot, written fully with the vav there, and mitzvotav are his commandments, right? The third person masculine singular. Vet shamarta, so again, conjunctive vav, shamarta is in the past tense. This is the kal perfect with the easy way of the simple conjugation of a verb. The root is shin mem resh, which means to keep, to guard. So vashamarta, so it's in the past tense, but the vav is flipping it to the future, and you keep. Kol meaning all. Hukav, right? So hok is it's a statute, oftentimes translated as a statute. In Judaism, we say that as opposed to the mitzvot, which are commandments, which we can understand, the chukim are those things which are more difficult for us to understand, right? The laws that Hakadosh Baruch Hu, that God gives us, which we have greater difficulty understanding why He would do that. And then there's a third class of laws which we call mishpatim, which are judgments. And basically in Judaism we say that mishpatim are the things which are reasonable. You know, anybody using their judgment would understand that this is something good that God has commanded us. Mitzvot are commandments which we may understand, we may not understand so clearly, and chukim are the ones that are most difficult to understand. Okay, kol chukav, right? Kol, again the word all, ha machale, right? So the root here is het lamed he, which means sick, right? And machala is something that causes sickness, right? So disease. Machala is something that causes, ha machala, the he at the beginning is the article, and machala is a sickness, a disease, something that causes people to be sick, right? Machala, asher is the pronoun relative, that. Samti, right? The root here is sin vav mem, to put, right? They're saying I have brought. I would probably just say put the taf and the yud at the end, put it in the first person collective singular of the perfect kal, right? Lasum, to put, and this is samti, I put. Bet Mitzrayim, that is the prepositional bet, and Mitzrayim is obviously Egypt, comes from the word Torah, Tur, the roots tzaddik, resh, and what the third one is. I mean, we could do a whole thing on Mitzrayim, but this is Egypt, obviously. Lo asim, lo meaning not. Asim is again, that lasum, samti asim, right? It's the same root, sin, vav, mem. I will put, the aleph at the beginning is the first person collective singular of the imperfect, right? Lo asim, I will not put. Alecha, so this is the root, this is the preposition with the ayin, not aleph. Alecha is upon you, right? You in the singular. That chaf is the second person masculine singular. So upon you. Ki, which I usually translate as because or for or since or so. Ki, because. Ani is the word I, pronoun first person collective singular. It's the less formal of the two. There's ani and there's anochi. Anochi is kind of a little bit more formal. Havaya, I am God, right? This is the tetragrammaton. Ani havaya rofecha. And this is the key word, the reason why we're doing this verse. The root here is resh pe aleph, which means to heal, right? And all the verses we're going to do right now are going to talk about that root. That's in Strong's concordance. It's root 7495. You can look at all the places it shows up in the Bible, 67 different occurrences. And you can see all the various forms here. But so this Exodus 15:26, right, says, I if you do what is right in my eyes, I will not put sickness upon you, because I am God who heals you, right? And then this Samach here tells us that this is a setuma, that there is a space, what's called a closed space in the scroll after this sentence. Okay? So this is actually a verse which someone might misunderstand and take out of context and say, you know what, if you're sick, it's because God made you sick. And if you are going to be healed, it is God who will heal you. Ki ani havaya rofecha, because I am the Lord your God who heals you. I am the Lord who heals you, right? And I put sicknesses upon people, right? So to understand further, we're going to look at two other verses, but this is the prototypical text where someone will say, okay, you know what, you're sick, God made you sick, God will heal you. You shouldn't have to deal, you shouldn't try to, if this is a punishment from God. See, people make the same mistake in Genesis, right? They say, if God is the one who's putting a curse on you, how dare you try to escape from it? And that's as we'll see from the other verses, this is a mistake. So let's look at the other verses. This is from Exodus 21. That chapter deals with if somebody hits someone else, strikes them, and that person becomes unwell, and what happens. And this is actually the verse from which the Talmud learns that Reshut nitana lerofe lerapot. that God has given a doctor the ability, right? Um, has allowed doctors to, in fact, heal people, um, and um, and even, once you have that ability, once God gives you that ability, um, most people say you have an obligation, right? Because God gave you that ability to heal, God gave you that ability to do good for others, then you have an obligation to actually be good, right? Um, so let's read what this verse says. Im yakum vehitalech bachutz al mishanto venika hamake rak shivto yiten verapo yerape. Right, and I'm not going to go into all the details here. This gets very, very complicated, um, because there are all kinds of rules about what is to happen. But it says im, right? So that's if, right? Um, yakum. The root here is of vav mem, which means to rise, right? And we often have this actually in the hifil, in the causative, right, to establish, right? But this is yakum, and so the yud, it puts it in the imperfect. It's in the third person masculine singular. If this person who became sick was able to get up, vet hithalech. So conjunctive vav. The root here is he lamed chaf, which we've had many times before, which means to walk. But this is in the hitpa'el, it's in the reflexive. So he's able to walk himself, right? Even though we'll see but he himself is able to get up and walk, right? Vehit halech. It's in the perfect, but the vav kind of flips it. It just like we had the yakum vehit halech, right? And he gets up and walks. Ba chutz. So this is the prepositional bet with the article chutz, meaning outside, right? And we've had chutz many times. Al is the preposition with the ayin. Mishanto. So the root here is shin ayin nun, which means to lean, right? Mishan is something you lean on, so it's a staff, and actually, is it a mishana? Let's see, mishana, yeah, with a hey, uh, mishana. It shows up several times. I think probably the most famous is in Psalm 23, right? Shiftecha umishantecha hema yenahamuni, right? Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So mishana, sorry, it is something you lean on, right? Feminine of mishan is support, right? So a walking stick, for some reason, it's in the feminine. So if the person is able to walk outside with a staff, right? He's able to get up and walk with a staff. Venike, right? So this is conjunctive of nike. I think the root here is, they're saying nun of hey is the root, to be clean or empty, right? Nikayon. Yeah, I mean, um, it shows up many times in the Bible. It shows up 44 different times, right? And this is in the nifal. It's in the passive, right? Venike and shall. Well, it's this is in the perfect, but the vav is flipping it. Venike ha-make, right? And mem chaf hey is the root here. It's in the, they're saying hifil. Makeh. Are they saying so? The root is nun chaf hey. They're saying to smite. I don't want to get too much into it. I'm not sure I agree with how they're doing it, but makeh means somebody who hits another, right? That shows up many times in the Bible. They're saying it's in the Hefil. It's the Hefil participle. I don't want to get stuck in here, but so the person who hit him shall be clean, literally, but acquitted, right? Rak shivto. Rak, it means only, right? It's an adverb only. Shivto, right? This comes from the same root as the Sabbath. Shin bet taf, right? To rest. Shivto, his resting. The translation they're giving you is the translation from um, the actually the laws which we learn out, I believe, from the Talmud. But so, except his resting yiten, right? So we're talking about latet, right? To give, or to set, but here it means give. The yud is putting it in the imperfect. Again, this is a verb we've talked about. It shows up tons of times in the Bible. I don't want to get stuck in all the verbs, so I'm not going to get too far into it. But yiten verapo yerpe, right? So the person who hit him, because now he's getting better and he's able to walk with a staff, then that person is not guilty, but he still owes him the loss of time, right? Because he had to rest, he had to not work. Yiten verapo yerape, right? And you'll see that the root here is resh pe aleph, right? Again, so and his healing, right? Rapo yerape, he shall heal him, right? Well, what that means, so conjunctive of rapo, it's in the PL, infinitive absolute. I'm fine with that. Yerape, the yud puts it in the imperfect. Yerape, his healing he shall heal. Well, what does that mean? We're not saying that the person who hit him is necessarily capable of healing the person. He has to pay for the doctor, right? He has to pay for the doctor. That's how the Talmud learns this out, right? Rapo yerape, he shall surely heal him, right? Meaning he has to pay his medical bills as well, right? And this has actually gotten into our legal system since then, right? And there's a setuma, there's again a closed break in the scroll there after this verse, similar to how there was on the previous one. So we see that by a sickness caused by another human being, of course, so the doctor, right? You call a doctor and you pay for the doctor too, right? You pay for his loss of time and you pay for his doctor, right? So that's the second verse. So we see that we don't just leave it to God, right? And then the third verse I wanted to show you is when it comes to Numbers 12, which is a Parsha, which is a chapter in the Torah, which unfortunately most people have not studied, and I wish they would. And an ambulance is going by. Hopefully whoever it is for will also be completely healed. So what happens here is that Miriam does something God was not happy with, and God strikes her, smites her, right? And what happens is that Moses sees that Miriam has been struck. You really, I highly recommend studying that chapter 12 of Numbers. I think it's very, very important in today's world to study what exactly happened there. But we're only going to talk about this this striking by God, right? So what happens is Moses prays for her. So it says Vayitzak. So conjunctive vav, the yud puts it in the imperfect, but it's getting it's getting flipped by the vav to the perfect, to the completed action. The root is tzadi ayin kof, which means to cry out, right? And shows up many times in the Bible. So Moses cried out, Vayitzak Moshe, right? Moshe obviously is his name. El is the preposition with the aleph, not ayin. Havaya is the tetragrammaton, the holy name, right? Le'emor, saying. This is the actual infinitive of aleph mem resh, to say. So Moses cried out to God, saying, Kelna refana la, right? And this is the famous verse. This is actually how we pray, and there are Kabbalistic roots. So when someone is sick, for a female, we say Kelna refana lo, la for a female, and for God, for a male, we say Kelna refana lo, right? God, please save him. Right, so Kel is one of the names of God. It is the shortest one, Aleph Lamed, right? So Kel, right? God. Na means please, and it's repeated twice. Refa is again the root to heal. Resh pe Aleph. Kel na refana. So please, God, heal her, please. The refa is in the imperfect, meaning in the future tense. I would actually say, no, not the imperfect. It's in the imperative. I'm sorry. So this is actually a sort of command, right? You're saying, God, please heal her. Kelna refana, please heal la. It's the prepositional lamed, and the he would be the third person feminine singular, or lo would be him, right? If this he was above, it would be him instead, right? Third person masculine singular. And for Kabbalistic reasons, usually we don't actually do this in the plural. We do one prayer, Kelna Rafana Lo, for him, and Kelna Rafana La for her, separately. And there's a pei at the end of this verse, which is a petucha, which is an open space in the Torah, in the scroll. So we see that even when God directly strikes someone, right, we are still allowed to pray for them. And possibly the one thing I would say, which some people might disagree with me about, is if you are allowed to pray for God to heal someone who has been stricken by God, right? And this Numbers 12 makes it very clear. God decided that Miriam should become sick because of her sin, because of the mistake that she had made. And of course, being a prophetess, she was held to a very high standard. And if for her you are allowed to pray, if you are allowed to implore God to heal her, how much more so are you allowed to actually physically help that person heal? I think this is a very important point, and I want to make it clearly, right? We have to understand what it means to do the will of God and to obey the will of God, right? If you are allowed to pray to God that someone who has done wrong and been stricken with an illness by God, you are arguing with God, right? Then how much more so are you allowed to use physical means, right? Physical means to help someone out of a situation which you are not clear that this was caused by God, right? You made a mistake. You hit someone with your car, and that person is in dire straits. And it may have been and it was your fault, right? You are required to pay for that person's sickness, right? For a doctor to come and help that person out. And we see here from Moses himself, Moshe Rabbeinu, our teacher Moses, that even someone struck clearly, and Moses knew that God had struck Miriam. You are even allowed to pray for God to heal that person. And I just think this is it's a fine point, and I want to put a fine point on this, that you yourself helping someone, let's say somebody broke a leg and you are splinting their leg, right? That is a lesser form of going against God's will than directly saying, hey, God, you just gave her that sickness. Please take it away, right? And this is a very important point within Judaism, right? Understanding that your prayers, that you're speaking to God, is higher form, is a bigger form, is the more important thing than what you're physically capable of doing. Because what you physically do, right, whether you splint someone's arm or you get them medication or whatever, the fact that works, if you truly believe in God, which I hope all of us do, and we truly understand how this world works, which is that the Lord our God, right, runs this world, and all sickness, like we had before, it says, Ani Havaya Rofecha, I am the Lord your God, I am the one who heals you. Right? It's not the medicine. The medicine is a physical manifestation. Right? The medicine is a physical manifestation of God's will. And it would not work. It will not work if God doesn't want it to work. Right? God is the creator. God is behind all things. Right? The only way that physical medicine will work is if God wills it to work, right? Ani Havaya Rofecha, I am the Lord, your healer, right? The doctor's not God. What the doctor is able to do, Reshut Nitan Lerofe Lerapot, permission was given by God that this person should be a vehicle, should be an agent, should be someone who is capable of fulfilling the will of God in healing you. Okay? And it is more of a chiddush. It is more of a surprising thing. More so than this person's sick, let's take care of him. I'll bring him some chicken soup, right? I'll help this person who's been afflicted by God with a sickness to get better. To my physical understanding is for you to spiritually cry out to God as Moses did. Vayitzak Moshe el Havaya le'amor kel na rafan Allah. Right? You say to God, God, you made this decision. You, in your infinite wisdom and infinite mercy, decided that this human being should be sick, and I am asking you to please heal this person. Okay? There's a lot more going on here. Obviously, these are the points of many homilies, but at this point, when to an extent we feel as a nation, as a people, together, and as humanity, right? As humanity, it's raining here right now, and I know that it will cease raining, and there will be a rainbow after this, because God has promised, as He has promised all the children of Noah, that He shall not destroy the world with water again. And he has not made that promise with the plagues, right? And we pray, which is an even higher form that you have to understand. I can't stress this enough. That your prayer, that God should change His mind kaviyachol, as if it is possible for God's mind to change, which in many senses it is not. Although God has given us certain ability to pray and to understand, and through our prayer to actually have and our faith in our prayers, right? Our faith in God through our prayers affects how the world exists, right? Your prayer, you're asking of God, Kel Narafan Allah, please, God, release us from this sickness, is a far more effective, far more important, far more strong way of dealing with that sickness than anything you can do physically, right? So the two things I would like us to learn out of this, I would like us to be able to come together out of this, is that to the point where we are praying for God to keep our family safe to keep all of humanity, all our brethren, right? Everyone who is in the image of God, right? Everyone B'Tselem Elokim, right? That God created in His image, right? That we choose life as God tells us to do so. We choose life for everyone. First and foremost, we believe with perfect faith. Hu Rofenu, He is our healer. We ask, Kelna Rafan Allah, please God, please heal her and him, and by extension all of us, right? And after that we do the more physical thing, which is to try to do good in the world, in every way that we can, and hopefully this is something we can all understand, and hopefully the merit of us listening to God's word, studying His word, studying what He has taught us carefully and with perfect attention to every word, because that is the most important thing. This will be a healing to the whole world. So with that, and of course you can look and see all of the places where this root resh pe aleph, it shows up 67 times in the Bible, and hopefully by studying God's word and understanding what He has to teach us about healing and his role in being our healer, we will get to know Him in His capacity as our healer. Okay, so let's get back to Genesis, and Genesis 13. 13:1, Vaya'al Avram mimitzrayim hu ve'ishto v'chol asher lo ve'lot imo hanegba. Okay, so the root here is actually al ayin lamed hey, to raise up, right? To go up, and you'll see to ascend, to climb. You'll see that actually in the Bible, whenever someone is leaving Egypt, Egypt is considered the lowest place. And anytime someone is leaving Egypt, it is called an ascending. And anytime someone goes down to Egypt, it is called a descent. And in a similar way, anytime anybody is going to the land of Israel, right, it is considered an ascent from anywhere else. And anytime they leave the land of Israel, it is considered a descent, right? So, and Avram went up Mitzrayim, right? So conjunctive vav, the yud puts it in the imperfect. The root is ayin lamed hey, to ascend. So and went up, right? The yud, it's in the imperfect, but it's getting flipped to the perfect, to the completed action. Avram, his name has still not changed. His name is still Abram. Mitzrayim, so there's the prepositional mem, and Mitzrayim, Egypt. Maybe at some point, I think maybe next time we'll talk about the word Mitzrayim exactly by itself. Hu ve'ishto, so that's who is the pronoun third person masculine singular. So he, ve'ishto, conjunctive vav, isha means woman or wife. Ishto is his woman, his wife, right? The hey turns into a taf because it's his wife, right? With the vav at the end of the third person masculine singular. V'chol, so again, conjunctive vav, chol means all. Asher is the pronoun relative, that. Lo, all that was his, right? Because in the Hebrew, there's no present tense of the verb to be. The whole asher lo, everything that was his. They're translating that he had, right? It's the prepositional lamed with the vav making a third person masculine singular, and everything he had. Velot imo, so conjunctive vav, lot, the lot, right? Imo was with him. Again, we're just we're just implying that Lot was with him because there's no present tense of the verb to be in Hebrew. Im means with im with the ayin means with, im with the aleph means if, right? So this is with the ayin, im o with him. Ha negba, so towards the Negev, right? We sometimes say negba is right. So the hey at the end is no, that's the directional hey. No, it's not. It's not the third person feminine singular. That morphology is not correct. This is the directional hey towards the Negev, which is the desert in the south of the land of Israel, right? So Negba sometimes we translate it as southern, right, towards the south, but here it's obviously saying towards the Negev, right? Ha Negba. That's the article. Not a controversial. I think everybody's going to translate it the same way, but let's look at the King James version. And Abram went out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. So they're translating it into the south of Israel. Okay. And NIV. So Abram went up from Egypt to the Negev with his wife and everything he had, and Lot went with him. Okay, understandable. Let's see what Chabad says. And Abram came up from Egypt, he and his wife and all that was his, and Lot with him to the south, right? And Rashi explains to come to the south of the land of Israel as Scripture stated above. Continue to try, right? 12:9. And yeah, you can look at it there. Not south or towards the south of Israel or towards the Negev, which is the desert in the south of Israel. Okay. Ve'Avram kaved me'od b'mikne b'kesef u'vazahav. Now this is an interesting use of the word kaved. So conjunctive vav, Avram is his name. So and Abram, kaved. So the root here is chaf bet daled, which means heavy. It can also mean glory, right? Kavod. We say to God is the glory, right? Kavod is his, right? So I sometimes translate kaved as gravitas, right? Because that means both things in English, right? There is a gravity to it. There's a heaviness to it. There's an importance to it, right? There's oftentimes it's translated as glory, right? So Abram was heavy. They're translating as rich. Was covered in glory, possibly you could say, but he was heavy. He was laden with. Me'od means very, right? And it's without a vav as it usually is, right? Me'od is the adverb very. Ba mikne, so that is the prepositional bet with the article. Mikne, right, is the root is Qof Nun He, right, which means to acquire. So you could, in a sense, translate this as with possessions. But Mikne, I understand what they mean. Excuse me, livestock. Ba Mikne, with the livestock or with the possessions, right? Ba Kesef, again, that's prepositional bet with the article. Kesef is silver, right? It's also in Hebrew, silver and money are somewhat considered synonymous, right? U vazahav. So again, with the conjunctive of prepositional bet with the article, and zahav means gold, right? So he was heavy with livestock. Mikneh, they're saying cattle, flock, herd. And we had it in Genesis 4 as well, and apparently it shows up many times here. But there we go. Okay. Let's look at King James. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. Okay. NIV, Abram had become very wealthy in livestock and in silver and in gold. Okay. So Chabad does it more literal, as I would do it. And Abram was very heavy with cattle, with silver, and with gold, right? You can look at the Rashi there. It's not huge. Okay. Vayelech lemas'av minegev v'ad Beit El ad hamakom asher haya sham ohalo, right? And so this is one of the places where the Bible is written one way and read another. Ohalo is how it is read. Batechila Bain Beit El Uvein Ha'ai. Okay, so let's go through it. Vayelech, right? So the root here is Hey Lamed Chaf, to walk, to go, right? And here it's in the Kal. The Yud is in the imperfect, but it's getting flipped by the conjunctive vav at the beginning. So and went lemasav, and the root here I want to say is nun. No, mem samech ayin, right? Pulling, breaking camp, setting out, a journey. Yeah, I would usually use the word this journey. It does show up 12 different times in the Bible, and that's just in this form, I believe. So journeys, right? And he went to his journeys, masav, right? His journeys. So that's prepositional lamed. Masa is the noun, and masav is third person masculine singular, his journey. Actually, I want to say his journeys, although I guess it might have been masotav. No, I guess it is in a single. It is noun plural. Oh, it is plural. Yeah, they're saying it is plural construct. So his journeys. Yeah. Okay, so they're saying it's in the plural. Yeah. Okay. Lemasav mi negev, right? So prepositional mem negev again. Either the negev, the place, or from the south. Ve'ad. So conjunctive of ad means onto and even, right? Ve'ad. Beit El, It's usually translated as Bethel. Literally it means the house of God, right? Beitel. And it is a city in the land of Israel, right? The house of God, but Bethel, right? Ad, so again, to or unto, right? Ad ha-makom, so the article, and makom is a place. We also refer to God as ha-makom, right? The place is it's one of the names of God in Judaism. The place. Onto the place, asher, so the pronoun relative. Haya is the perfect form of the verb to be, right? Third person masculine singular. Asher haya, that was there, that had been. Sham means there. Ohala, it's written with the hey, right? Ohala, which would be her. And ohel is a tent, right? Aleph hey lamed. Ohala, if it was written, if it was read the way it is written, it would be her tent. But this is ohalo, his tent. That's how it's read, right? It's read ohalo. Um, um, Ba techila. So prepositional bet um, with the article. Techila is the beginning, right? We say hatchala, techila, right? I think the root is actually, well, they're saying it's it's a verb. The roots may be chet lamed lamed. That's what they're saying here. This shows up many times in the Bible, and I think we may have even had it before. Tehillah shows up 22 times in the Bible. Have we had it before? We had it in. No, apparently we haven't had it before. But Tehillah is the beginning, right? Hatchala. Okay. Bain means between, right? Batchila bain. So at the beginning, he earlier, right? He had his tent there. Bain Beit El ubain ha'ai. So between Bethel, right? Bain Bethel ubain. So conjunctive of bain again and. So this is in Hebrew you say bain uvain, right? Between and between. Whereas in English you would actually only use it once. I think it's possible in Hebrew to only say it once, but it's also very common to say the vein to say both of them, right? Um, between between Beitel and the eye, right? The article there, it it's indicating. I mean, when I hear Ha'ai, I think the river Ai, or it could be the mountain Ai, but that's the name of it is Ai. Okay, let's see what King James does with this. And he went on his journeys from the south, even to Bethel, on to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai. I don't like that. That is, I think, a mistake. Saying that the word is high. No, it's ha'ai. The I. Let's see what NIV does with that. From the Negev, he went from place to place. So his journeys, they're translating from place to place. Until he came to Bethel, to the place between Bethel and Ai. Yeah, I prefer that. Where his tent had been earlier. Right? But Hila, they're translating as um, earlier. let's see what Chabad says. And he went on his journeys from the south and until Bethel, and until the place where his tent had been previously, between Bethel and between Ai. Yeah, much more. That's a much more literal translation. How I prefer to do it, and Rashi explains things, and you can see that if you would like. Okay, let's see if I just want to see if Rashi says anything about Ohalo. No, he doesn't. I think last time we discussed that and said that it was because he did his wife's tent first, of course, um, and that's why it was doing it that way. Okay, verse 4. El mekom hamizbeach asher asa sham barishona vayikra sham Avraham beshem Havaya. Okay, so this is the preposition el with the aleph, not ayin. Mekom. This is makom, but here it's in the construct form with mizbeach. That's why it sounds a little bit, but it's the same word, place written fully with the vav, but it's in the construct form with ha mizbeach, right? The article in a construct in smichut goes on the last noun. The root of mizbeach is obviously zayin bet het, which means to butcher, to cut up, right? So mizbeach is the altar, and that shows up many times in the Bible. So to the place of the altar, asher is the pronoun relative. Asa is the root here is ayin sin hey, right? To make or to do, and it's in the perfect, it's in the completed form, which he had made, which he did, right? Sham means there. Ba rishona, so prepositional bet with the article. Rishona, right? The root here is resh aleph shin, right? Meaning head or beginning. Ba rishona, in the beginning, right? Rishon means first. Rishona is the feminine singular of it. And this is actually, the first word of the Bible is Bereshit, but people translate it as if it was Barishona, right? In the beginning, right? And this is how you would say in the beginning as we say it, right? So actually, I would translate this as in the beginning, and Bereshit as at first, but people do it the other way around. But yeah, this is the one, and it is written bechisaron that there's no vav between the shin and the nun if you're keeping track of that. Vayikra. So again, we've had this many times. Conjunctive vav. The yud puts it in the imperfect, and the vav flips it. The root is of resh aleph, to call, right? And he called, right? Because it's vayikra sham, and he called there Sham Avram. That's his name. Beshem Havaya. So prepositional bet, Shem meaning name, in the name of the Tetragrammaton, Havaya, right? So let's see what King James does, verse 4. Onto the place of the altar, which he had make there at the first. Yeah, I actually like that, at the first, better. Although I would probably translate in the beginning. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Okay. NIV, and where he had first built an altar, there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Okay. Chabad, to the place of the altar that he had made at first, and Abram called there in the name of the Lord. Right? And you can see the Rashi if you want. So Rashi is saying you could read that either as he called in the name of the God of the Lord there in the beginning, Barishon Avekrat, right? Or that this time again, and obviously I'm guessing he prayed multiple times there. Okay, let's keep on going. Verse 5. וגם ללוט ההולך את אברהם היה צאן ובקר ואוכלים. Okay, so interesting. Conjunctive vav, gam means also, so and also. Le-lot, that's the prepositional lamed to lot. Ha-holech, right? So that's the article hey. Holech, obviously the root is hey lamed chaf, which means to walk or to go, right? Ha-holech. So the person who went, right? Lot was the one who went. Lot ha-holech. Lot, the one who walked, right? Et, this is, it's not the direct object marker. I mean, okay, so the direct object marker, and this is actually something I was studying last night. The direct object marker also is the same word as the preposition et, and in this form you can't tell the difference, right? So you could, in a sense, say that Lot was, within context, this is the preposition et, not the direct object marker. So they're translating it as with, right? But if you really wanted to, you could say that he was causing Abraham to walk, right? And I think that might actually be what Rashi says here. Holech et Abraham gam. What brought it? He's going with Abraham. Okay, so the Talmud talks. Okay, so that's something else that the Talmud's talking about. But yeah, this is not the direct object marker. This is the preposition in context. He went with, and obviously you could ask why it's using this form of with, but okay. Haya son, it's the third person masculine singular of the perfect, of the completed action of to be, right? There was son, meaning they're translating as flocks, but I would say son would be sheep, right? There was sheep, and it's written without a vav as it usually is. Son bechisaron. Vakar, so conjunctive vav, and vakar is cattle, right? Is cows. They're saying herds. Ve'ohalim, so conjunctive vav. Ohel obviously is a tent. Ohalim is the plural of tent, and it is written without the vav between the aleph and the hey, as is again normal for ohel. Let's see how King James does this. And Lot also, which went with Abram, I would have done who went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. Okay. NIV, now Lot, who was moving about with Abram, okay, also had flocks and herds and tents. Okay. Chabad and also Lot, who went with Abram, had flocks and cattle and tents. Yeah, I would probably do it that way. Okay, next verse. Velo nasa otam haaretz lashevet yachdav ki haya rechusham rav velo yachlu lashevet yachdav. Very interesting verse. This is actually a verse which is darshan, which is expounded upon a lot by the rabbis. So conjunctive vav, so and lo, not. Nas'a, so the root here is, what are they saying? Nun, sin, aleph, to lift or to carry or to take, right? So this is, they're saying kal perfect, yeah. Was not, so in context it means support. Was not able to hold up, right? So, otam, so okay, this is how you know the difference between the et, which is the direct object marker, and the at, which is with, is the preposition. If it's ot or oto, right, with the cholam, and here it's written bechisaron. The cholam doesn't have a vav, but that's normal. Otam, that's the direct object marker. Itam, right, with the chirik, with the yud, with would be with. Okay, with here this is obviously the direct object marker otam, and the mem at the end, it's the third person masculine plural, right? So velo nasa otam, was not able to support them, right? Haaretz, the article, and eretz is land. We've had that many times. So the land was not able to support them, right? La shevet, so prepositional lamed. La shevet is the infinitive form of Sabbath, right? The root is shin bet taf. La, so to dwell, to rest, to I mean, a shvut is to rest. I mean, lashevet yachtav. So to this is interesting. The yachtav, so yachad, right? The root, the two-letter root, obviously, is chet dalet, right? Meaning one. Echad means one. Yachid means alone. Yachtav, yachtav means together, but yachtav, I mean, so it's interesting that it says velo nasach haaretz. The if you're going to be very literal here, you would say that the land was not about was not able to support them, and they for them to dwell, for that they might dwell yachtav. You would almost want to say with the land, right? The simple meaning here is that they would not be able to together, right? Because the two of them, we might look at the Rashis here. Ki haya refushan. See, so yachtav is with the singular, with the vav, right? I would kind of expect this to be beyachad with the prepositional bet, but it's not. Other places, it, leshevet achim gam yachad, right? Well, okay. Ki haya, so the conjunction ki, for, since, because. Haya, we've had many times, the perfect form of to be, third person masculine singular. Rechush, right? The root here is resh chaf, shin, right? Which is wealth, right? And we've had this before. Rechusham is their wealth or their possessions. Um, Sometimes it's translated as booty, right? Rechusham, their possessions, their wealth. Haya Rechusham Rav was great, right? And Rav we have many times. Reshbet. Um, Velo yachlu. So conjunctive of lo meaning not. Yachlu, right? So the root here is yachol, right? To be able to. Yud chaf lamed, to have the power, to be able to, right? And this is the first time we've had it. Interesting. Um, Okay. Velo yachlu, and they were not able to, and this is in the third person common plural or masculine plural. So, and they, the two of them, you could possibly say they in the land, but it's the two of them, Lot and Avram, were not able to lashevet, right? So we had lashevet already. They were not able to um, dwell yachtav. Again, that yachtav is a little bit strange to me, right? It's the same yachtav, but I'm wondering if this is the verse that Rashi looks at. We'll look at the Rashis here, and if it is, then we'll discuss it. But 13:6 in the King James, and the land was not able to bear them, right? Nasa, they're translating bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance, rechusham, and it's translating as substance, was great, so that they could not dwell together. Okay? Yeah, I could say that. NIV, but the land could not support them while they stayed together. Oh, okay, that's an interesting way of putting it. For their possessions were so great that they were not able to stay together. Okay, let's look at Chabad. And the land did not bear them to dwell together, for their possessions were many. Right? Rav, they're translating as instead of great, many, which I understand. I can see that. And they could not dwell together. Let's see what Rashi says. וצריך להוסיף עליו כמו לא נשא אותם מרעה הארץ. לפיכך כתוב ולא נשא בלשון זכר. Okay. So what Rashi is actually pointing out here is Velo nasa otam haaretz. You'll notice this nasa, to support, is actually in the masculine, even though aretz is the land is in the is a feminine. So Rashi is saying, why is this nasa in the masculine? He's saying because there's actually more there, right? And you can try to see what Rashi is saying, but he's saying it's an abbreviated expression. There are things that are not being explained. And yeah, it's the next verse that Rashi darshans. It almost seems to me that verse 6 is also, in a way, saying that. So there was the disagreement we're going to talk about in verse 7, right? They were not able to live together, and Rashi explains that Abram was a pure person, and the people with Lot weren't as pure. They had to separate their ways, and in a sense, I almost want to say that verse 6. The yachtavs and the nasa being in the masculine, it's indicating that they were not able to both serve God together the way that Abram does. right? Abram was able to serve God, and Lot was not, and there was this disagreement between them. Let's look at the next verse. Maybe that'll make it clearer. Okay, verse 7. Vayehi riv bein ro'e mikne Avram uvein ro'e mikne Lot vehakenani vehaprizi az yoshev baaretz. Okay, this is almost it almost seems like it should be two different sentences. Vayehi, we've had this many times. It's the conjunctive of the yud is putting in the imperfect, but it's getting flipped to the perfect, to the completed, right? So, and there was. Reeve is strife, or it comes from multiplicity, right? Rav means there from rib. Um, see, yes, rib where it shows up, it means divide, but I understand it to mean because Rav means many, right? Multiply. So this is a divide again, like to let's see what they're saying here from Reeb Rish Yud Bet. A primitive root they're saying to complain. Velo Rabu. Mm, I would translate it as division, and of course you can look at your concordance and take it from there, what exactly it means. But there was a division, there was strife. Bain again between ro'e, right? So the root here is resh ayin hey, which means to shepherd, to watch over. Okay, don't confuse this with the resh aleph, right? To watch. This is more of a guarding. Resh ayin, right? The shepherds. It would be ro'im, but this is in the construct. It's in the smichut. Ro'e mikne. Watch those who watch the possessions or the livestock of Avram. Riv bain ro'e mikne, between the shepherds of the livestock of Avram, right? Uvein, so conjunctive of, and like I said before, vein in Hebrew we often say that between twice, whereas in English we wouldn't. Ro'ei mikne Lot, right? So again, shepherds of the livestock of Lot. So there was a division between them, there was strife between them, a disagreement between them. Vehakenani, so conjunctive of, the hey is the article. Kenani, that they say noun proper, right? So Kenan is Canaan, and Kenani is Canaanite, right? And the Canaanite, vehaprizi, so again, conjunctive of, hey is the article, parasites, right? Perez is the root there, and the yud at the end it turns into a noun proper, right? The parasites, the haprizi, az. So at that time they're translating, yes, az. Don't confuse this with oz, which is the ayin, right? Ayin Zayin. This is Aleph Zayin, right? At that time, Yoshev, right? Again, the root is Shin Bet Hey, or Shin Bet Taf, right? Well, this is a it's written Bechisaron. There's no vav there, which that's fine. What was dwelt in the land, Ba'aretz. So prepositional bet with the article, and Eretz is obviously land, right? Yoshev was actually in the is in the singular, which is a little bit strange to me. Was then it's not Yoshivim. They were not dwelling as Yoshev Baris. I guess, yeah. Let's look at the translations. Verse 7, and there was strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelled then in the land. Okay? NIV, and quarreling arose. I'm not sure I like the word arose. I guess maybe they're saying by Yehi. So I'm not sure why they're doing arose. I'm not sure. I wouldn't translate it. Between Abram's herders and Lot's, and they're not even translating herders twice. I'm not sure I like this very much. The Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land at that time. I'm not sure I like the also. I'm not very happy with this NIV. Let's see what Chabad does. And there was a quarrel between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and between the herdsmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanites and the Perizzites were then dwelling in the land. Yeah, that's more of a literal translation. So let's see what Rashi says here. And he's talking about the strife, the division that there was. Since Lot's herdsmen were wicked and they pastured their animals in fields belonging to others, Abram's herdsmen rebuked them for committing robbery. But they responded, the land was given to Abram, who has no heir, so Lot will inherit him, and therefore this is not robbery. But Scripture states, and the Canaanites and the Perizzites were then dwelling in the land, and Abram had not yet been awarded its possession. So you see what why he's saying the Scripture needs to include that at the end, right? So if the land belonged to Abram, right, then Abram could freely feed his cattle on anybody's land because God had promised it to him, right? And Abram doesn't have any children, and Lot is going to inherit what he has. So it's, in a sense, it's also Lot's, right? They're already moving 2 steps ahead, right? But Abram wasn't doing that because although the land was promised to him, it was still the Canaanites and the Perizzites who were living there. And so Abram was saying, no, it's not even mine yet. It's certainly not yours. You're stealing. And they were. Okay. These are the types of things I love Rashi for. This is why I always look at the Rashis, because it really makes you understand what's going on there. Okay. Vayomer Avram el Lot al na tehi meriva beini uveinecha uvein ro'ai uvein ro'echa ki anashim achim anachnu. So Abraham, as always, wanting to not cause any problems, he says, so conjunctive vav, the yud puts it in imperfect, the root is aleph mem resh, to say. The vav is flipping it from the imperfect to the perfect, right? Abram is his name. El, it's the preposition with the aleph, right? Lot. So Abram said to Lot, al, meaning not, right? Al, there should not, na, Al na, right? Na meaning please, it's the introduction. Al na, please not, please don't. Tehi, with, this is the Jusiv, they're calling it. Again, this is the imperative, the command form. There should not be, right? Tehi, of the verb to be. Al natehi meriva, there should not be something which causes strife, right? In the previous sentence we said riv, which is the division. Meriva is something which causes riv, right? Meriva, something which causes the division. Beini uveinecha, between me, the yud at the end is first person collective singular, and veinecha between you, right? Chaf being the second person masculine singular. So there's the conjunctive vav there between me and you, right? Uvein ro'ai. So again, conjunctive vav, the preposition bein, right? Ro'ai are my herdsmen. Ro'im is herdsmen, right? The shepherds. Written without a vav here, which is normal. Ro'ai, my herdsmen. Uvein, so again, conjunctive vav, vein meaning between. Ro'echa, your herdsmen. It's in the plural, right? Your herdsmen. Ki, because or for, right? That's the conjunction. Anashim, so ish means men, isha, man, isha means woman, anashim means men, and nashim means women, okay? Anashim, because of men, plural of man. Anashim achim, we are, and this is ach being used as a kind of adjective, right? Achim means brothers. Anashim achim, we are brotherly men. Anachnu. So this is the pronoun anachnu, meaning it's the first person collective plural, right? And here the pronoun is being used instead of the verb to be in the present tense, because Hebrew doesn't have that. So anashim achim anachnu, we are, right? The are is implied by the pronoun. We are brothers, brotherly men, right? Okay, let's see how that's being translated. And Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, right? They're translating that I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. Not a huge fan of that translation. Let's see what NIV says. So Abram said to Lot, let's not have any quarreling between you and me. They're not having they're not translating the please. I don't like that. Or between your herders and mine, for we are close relatives. I'm not a huge fan of this translation. Let's see what Chabad does with it. And Abram said to Lot, please let there be no quarrel between me and between you, and between my herdsmen and between your herdsmen, for we are kinsmen. Anashim achim, Rashi is saying, meaning relatives, right? Anashim achim, kinsmen. And according to the Midrash Agada in the Genesis Rabbah, they resembled each other in their facial features, right? So Anashim achim were men who look alike, right? We are brotherly men. Interesting Midrash. But the simple meaning is we are kinsmen. And like I've said before, when you are darshaning, when you are trying to understand the various meanings that are available in each Bible verse, and part of the greatness of the Bible is that it does have a multiplicity of understandings. Important rule is is that the simple meaning always guides us, and you can't ever read it to completely, switch out of what is the simple meaning. The simple meaning always has to control. Okay. Next verse. Halo chol haaretz lefanecha hipared na me'alai im hasmol ve'emina ve'im hayamin va'asnila. Right? Okay. So interesting. Halo. So halo is, although it literally, it's you have the article ha, and lo means no, but halo, right, means is it not? It's a question, right? So the article in Hebrew is sometimes used to create questions in this way. Halo, is it not? Chol, all of, haaretz, the land, with the article, lefanecha, is not the whole land before you, right? So literally, panim means face, before you, right, to your face. Lefanecha, the chaf at the end is the second person masculine singular. Is it not all before you, right? Hipared, right? So this is the imperfect of the. I would almost say this is the command, but they're saying the imperative of the nifal, caused to be separated, right? The root here is pe resh dalid, to separate, to divide up. We've had this before. Hipared, separate, right? Hipared na, please. Right, so, that word "please" is showing up a lot in this verse, in this chapter. Hipared, now please separate. Me'alai. So prepositional mem. This is the preposition al with the ayin, not aleph, and the yud is the first person singular, from me. Okay, me'alai, from onto me. Im means if. Hasmol, article. And then small means left. Sin, mem, ayin, aleph, lamed, sorry. So small, right, means left. Im hasmol, if you take, the you take is kind of implied. If to the left, right, if the left, the emana, right, and this is an interesting way of putting it. So it's a conjunctive vav. The aleph is the first person cohortive, ve'emana, and I will go. Emina. I will go to the left, to the right. Right. Yamin means right. The direction. Right. Yud mem nun. And I will go, and the hey at the end is the directional hey, right? Amina. I will. They're saying it's in the he fill. I would agree with that. Amina. I will go towards the right. Ve'im hayamin. So, and conjunctive of im means if. Hayamin, right? Article yamin means right. Ve'asmila, right? So this is clearly small in the he fill. Asmila, I will turn towards the right, and the hey at the end is the directional hey. Let's see how that's being translated. King James, is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. Okay, I'm not sure I would do it exactly that way, but let's see what NIV is. Not the whole land before you. Let's part company, right? I would say let's separate, but okay. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left. I would have actually said if to the right, I will go to the if to the left, I will go to the right. If to the left, I will go to the right. If to the right, I will go, because the verb form is actually only how is only what Abram is saying. Okay, so let's see what Chabad does. Is not all the land before you? Please part from me. If you go left, right, and they use that, they're showing you that the words isn't actually there if you go. So if left, I will go right, and if right, I will go left. Yeah, this is how I would do it. So let's read the Rashis. Wherever you dwell, I will not distance myself from you, and I will stand by you as a protector and a helper. And he ultimately needed it, as it is said, and Abram heard that his kid. So Rashi's actually learning out here. I'm not gonna go far from you. We're gonna separate, but I still have a sort of obligation towards you. I will go right. Grammatically, this means I will go towards the right, like asmila, and I will go to the left. Now, if you say that it should have been vowelized, amina, yeah, with that yud, I was wondering about that, because if you're saying it's in the hefil, amina, why isn't there a yud there? Right, between the mem and the nun. It is bechizon. We find that the same in another place, 2 Samuel 14:19. If anyone can turn to the right, lehemin, and is not vowelized lehayimin. Huh. Oh, he's saying, why is it not amina? Aimina, as opposed to amina. So why is it with the sigol? This might be too far from us, but I mean, because that aleph is a guttural. Well, no, because the yud is a guttural. Amina. So he shows another place in the Bible where it is similarly vocalized. Okay. You can look in 2 Samuel if you like. Vayisa lot et einav vayar et kol kikar hayarden ki hula mashke lifnei shachet havaya et stom ve'et amora kegan havaya ke'eretz mitzrayim bo'acha tzoar. Interesting, very interesting. Okay, so Yisa Einav is a common way of saying things, to raise your eyes, right? So conjunctive of the yud puts it in imperfect. This is again nun sin aleph, which we talked about to raise before, right? Vayisa and lifted. Lot is his name. Et is the direct object marker. His einav, right? He raised his eyes. Einayim meaning eyes. Vayar, so conjunctive of, the yud puts it in imperfect. The root is resh aleph hey, to see. The hey has absconded. Et is the direct object marker again. Kol kikar, so all of. Kikar literally means a brick, right? Kikar, they're saying plain, the plain of the Yarden, right? Ha Yarden. the article, and then Jordan, right? Yarden, the plain, right? The flat of the Yarden. Ki hula, ki meaning again because, right? Or for, or that. Hula, all of it, right? It is going on. Kikar, which is feminine. Hula, all of it, right? It's like coal, but hula is all of it, right? The hey at the end. Mashke. So the root here is shin kof hey, um, which means to drink. Mashke, mashke, butler, cupbearer. Um, it's a hefil to give a drink, right? Mashke, yeah, cupbearer, kol mashke, chula mashke, all of it watered, or gave to drink. Lifnei, so what it's saying, what's obvious from the whole context is, I mean, if you go now, obviously, if you go to where Stom and Amora were, you will see that it's all desert. What water there is salt water. It's in the Dead Sea, Yam HaMelach, the Salton Sea. But before God destroyed, Lifnei Shachet Havaya. Before, Lifnei means before, right? It can also mean to the face of, but here it means before. Lifnei Shachet, the root here is Shin Chet Tet, which is to destroy, right? Shachet Havaya, before God destroyed, Et is the direct object marker. Obviously, the Havaya here is the tetragrammaton. Direct object. Stom is the name of Sodom, we say in English, but Sdom is the Hebrew. I think it's usually written with Samech. I think sometimes it's written with a Sin. We'll see, but there's no Vav as is usual with Stom. Ve'et and to, right? Amora in Hebrew, the English is Gomorrah. Kegan Havaya, right? Before God destroyed Sodom and Amorah, it was a good land, right? Kegan Havaya. So prepositional chaf, like gan, meaning garden, like Gan Eden, right? We say the Garden of Eden, Gan Eden. Gan Havaya, the garden of God, right? Havaya is the tetragrammaton. Ke'eretz Mitzrayim, like the land of Mitzrayim, right? The land of Egypt, which also is very fertile. So it was like a garden of God. It was a fertile land. It was like Mitzrayim. Bo'acha, and we had Bo'acha previously. The root here is bet aleph hey, to come, right? Bo'acha, as you come, or bet vav aleph, as you go, and we had this before, as you're going, right? Bo'acha tzor, towards tzor, or towards the land of Tzor. That's a proper name, written without a vav, and the Bo'acha here is also without a vav, but that's not strange. Okay, let's verse 10. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere. Before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Yeah, that's basically, I mean, that's what it means pretty clearly. Um, NIV, Lot looked around. I would say he raised his eyes, but that's fine. Looked around and saw that the whole plain of the Jordan toward Zoar was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, I mean, same meaning again. Um, Chabad, and Lot raised his eyes and he saw the entire plain of the Jordan, that it was entirely watered, right? Kihula, right? That all of it, right? All of it was well watered. Before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as you come to Zoar. Um, And yeah, there are agadot here, which Rashi talks about if you are interested. Okay, next verse. Vayivchar lo Lot et kol kikar hayarden, vayisa Lot mikedem, vayipardu ish me'al achiv. Okay, so conjunctive vav again. The yud puts it in imperfect. The root here is bet het resh, to choose, right? Just like we say that the chosen people, right? Um, Here it is, and he chose, right? Because the vav is flipping it from the imperfect to the perfect, and he chose lo for himself, right? Prepositional lamed, vav, third person masculine singular. So he chose for himself. Vayivchar lo, lot is his name. Et is the direct object marker. Kol, all of. Kikar, again, plain. Ha Yarden, right? With the article, Yarden is the Jordan, right? Vayisa, so again, like Masaot, right? We said journeys. So conjunctive Vav, the Yud puts it into the imperfect, which is being flipped. The root Nun Samech Aleph, Ayin, I would say, is to journey, right? And he journeyed, Lot. Mi kedem, prepositional mem. So from, kedem means the front of or early from the east, right? Mi kedem. Vayipardu. So conjunctive of yud is puts it in the imperfect. Of course, it's being flipped by that vav. The root here is peresh dalid. They're saying it's in the nifal, which I agree with. It's in the passive, and they were separated, right? Yipardu, right? So they were separated. We had peresh dalid earlier, right? And they were separated. The vav at the end tells you it's a third person masculine plural. Ish, man, me'al achiv. They're translating ish as the one from the other. Me'al, so prepositional mem. Al is the preposition with the ayin, not aleph. Achiv, his brother. They're translating from the other, but achiv means his brother, right? So man from his brother. And separated man from his brother. Let's see how King James does it. Verse 11. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east. And they separated themselves, the one from the other. Okay. NIV, verse 11. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of the Jordan and set out toward the east. I actually would have wanted to say from the east. Mekedem, and he journeyed from the east. Mekedem. We'll see. The two men parted company. Okay. Chabad. And Lot chose for himself the entire plain of the Jordan, and Lot traveled from the east. Like I said, me kedem, and they parted one from another. And let's see. So Rashi says from the east, he traveled from beside Abram and went away to the west of Abram. Hence, he traveled from east to west, and that's what the Targum Yonatan says. According to Midrash Haggadah, he distanced himself from the Mikadmono, from the ancient one of the world. He said, I care neither for Abram nor for his God. So the Midrash Genesis Rabbah, it's actually translating Mikedem, from the east, Mikadmono, right, from the one who comes first, right? So that he journeyed from God. Okay, verse 12. Avram yashav be'eretz Kenan, velot yashav be'arei hakikar, vayi'echal ad Sdom. Okay, so Avram is the name. Yashav means dwelt, right? It's in the perfect. The roots, yeah, is Yud Shin Bet. So again, whether this is a 2-letter root, 3-letter root, to rest, to a moshav is a village, right? This whole 2-letter, 3-letter root thing will always get in the middle of it for you, right? Be'eretz, prepositional bet, eretz obviously meaning land. It's in the construct with Kenan, right? Be'eretz Kenan, in the land of Kenan. Velot, so conjunctive of Lot is the name Yashav, right? Again, same Yashav. Be'are, so prepositional bet without the article. Ir means city, arim means cities, are is in the construct form with hakikar, are hakikar, the cities of the plain, right? And the article obviously goes on the last noun in the smichut, in the construct form. Vayi'ahal. So conjunctive of, this is ohel. We don't often see ohel being conjugated. The root is aleph, hey, lamed. We usually just talk about ohel as the noun of tent, but this is and the tent is being, the word tent is being conjugated as a verb, and ve'yehal, and he pitched a tent. He created tents. He tented there, right? The yud puts it in the imperfect, but the vav is flipping it ad, meaning towards or onto Sdom, right? To the city of Sdom, right? Let's see what the King James says with that. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom, right? Verse 12 in the NIV. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain, and pitched his tents near Sdom. Okay, ad Sdom, near Sdom. Let's see what Chabad does. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and he pitched his tents until Sdom. And Rashi says, Veyahel, he pitched his tents, Nata ohalim l'rahav at Sdom, right? So he actually himself lived, Rashi is saying he lived in those cities, but his cattle, right? They were in the field until Sodom. Okay. Now we're gonna talk about Sodom. Okay. ואנשי סדום רעים וחטאים להוויה מאוד. Not good, not good. So, conjunctive vav, anshe means men. Sdom, again, is the city without the vav as usual, with the sin, with the samech, as usual. Ra'im were wicked. Obviously, ra means evil. Ra'im is the masculine plural, right? There is no present tense of the verb to be in Hebrew. We're implying it, right? Ra'im v'chatayim. They were bad and they were sinful, right? Chet is sin or to miss, right? Like you miss with a shooting a target, right? Het tet aleph v'chatayim, and they were sinners, right? Chatayim, obviously conjunctive vav. This is in the masculine plural, chatayim. They were people who sinned and sinful. La havaya, so prepositional lamed and the tetragrammaton, right? They were sinning to God me'od, very much, written bechisaron as usual. Let's look at the King James, verse 13. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. I'm not sure why they put before the Lord. I would have said and sinned towards God. Let's see. Verse 13. Now the people of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. Okay. Chabad. And the people of Sodom were very evil and sinful against the Lord. And you can see what Rashi brings. And what he says is lahavaya me'od, towards God. They were deliberately. They weren't just sinful. They sinned because they wanted to. Which they wanted to rebel against God. Okay. Vahavaya amar el Avram acharei hipared lot me'imo sana enecha ur'e min hamakom asher ata sham tzafona v'negba v'kedma v'yama. Okay, so interesting. So conjunctive vav, havaya is obviously the tetragrammaton. Amar said. Right, in the perfect aleph mem resh. El is the preposition to with the aleph, not ayin. Avram is his name. Acharei, after, right? Achar means after. Acharei, again, acharei, after, yeah, similar. He pared, we spoke about that he separated. Right, the separation, the root is pe resh daled. He pared lot me'imo. Lot separated. Prepositional mem, ein mem means with, imo with him. Right, so Lot separated from him. Sana. Interesting. So sa is the imperative. It's the command form of to raise, right? We said previously that Lot raised his eyes, right? To raise your eyes, to look up, right? And God is saying, please. Interesting. God is saying to Abraham, please. Sa na enecha. Raise your eyes. right? Einecha, your eyes. Raise, please, your eyes. Ure'eh. So, conjunctive of the root is resh aleph hey, to look. Ure'eh, this is in the imperative. And look. Min hamakom. From, min is the preposition from. Hamakom, the place, the article hey and makom, like we said, is place, but it's also one of the ways we refer to God. Min hamakom, asher, pronoun relative, that. Ata is the pronoun second person, masculine singular, you, right? Ata sham, you are there, right? The pronoun is kind of being used as a the verb to be, as we often do. Asher ata sham, that you are there. So raise your eyes and look around, right? Safona, safon means towards the north, and the hey at the end is the directional hey. They keep on doing the third person feminine singular in the morphology here. That's a mistake. Safona without the vav. Va negba, and towards the negev, right? So conjunctive of negba, southward, right? Or towards the negev. Va ketma, so conjunctive of kedem, again, it means front or eastward, and towards the east. Ve yama, and towards the sea or towards the west, right? Because when you are in Israel, the Mediterranean is towards the west, right? Vayama, and towards the sea, towards the west. King James, and the Lord said unto Abram after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes. For some reason, they're not putting the please. I kind of think that please is important here. And look from the place where thou art, northward and southward and eastward and westward. Okay. NIV, the Lord said to Abram after Lot had parted from him, look around from where you are to the north and south, to the east and west. Again, they didn't put the please either. Let's see. Chabad, and the Lord said to Abram after Lot had parted from him, please raise your eyes and see from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. So what Rashi says is God only spoke to Abram after he had separated from Lot, because God does not talk to people who and that's from the Tanchuma, Midrash Tanchuma. Talk to people who spend their time with evildoers, because that's not a good thing for you to do. Okay. Ki et kol haaretz asher ata ro'eh lecha etnena ve'ulezaracha ad olam. Okay. Ki means because, et is the direct object marker, kol, all of, haaretz, the land, right? Haaretz, asher, this is the pronoun relative, ata is the pronoun second person masculine singular, which you, ro'eh, right? The root is resh aleph hey, it's in the present participle, in the present form, ro'eh, to see. Lecha, to you, so prepositional lamed, the chaf, second person masculine singular. Etnena, right? So latet means to give. The root, it's one of those irregular roots, but to give. Etnena. The aleph is the imperfect of the first person collective singular. Etnena. I will give it. Right? Etnena. Eten means I will give. Etnena, I will give her. Right? Or it. Okay, it's nena. Lezaracha. So again, conjunctive vav. Prepositional lamed. Zera, zayin, resh, ayin is literally seed, right? But zaracha, your seed, your descendants, right? Ad olam. So ad olam literally means until ever, right? Until the world, right? Olam is the world, but ad olam, we say we basically say forever, right? It's one way we say forever in Hebrew. Ad olam, um, unto ever. King James, verse 15, for all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. Okay. NIV, all the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. The note says, or seed, also in verse 16. Chabad, for all the land that you see, I will give to you and to your seed to eternity. Yeah, that's no surprise. I prefer the Chabad translation. Verse 16, Vesamti et zaracha ka'afar haaretz asher im yuchal ish limnot et afar haaretz gam zaracha yimaneh. Okay, so conjunctive vav samti is in the perfect, right? We talked about lasum, to put, sin vav mem. Samti means I put in the past tense. It's the perfect, but it's being the vav is flipping it to the future, right? The tough and the yud is the first person singular. So the samti is I put, but I will put, right? Because the vav is flipping it. Et is the direct object marker. Zaracha, right? Again, zera means seed, your seed. Zaracha. Ka'afar, right? Prepositional chaf. Afar, ayin, pe, resh is dust. We've seen that many times in the Bible. Haaretz, it's in smichut, it's in a construct form with the land. The hay, the article goes on the last noun in the construct form in the smichut. Asher is the pronoun relative. Im means if. Yuchal, right, is able. This is Yechol, the root is Yud Chaf Lamed, to be able to. We had that previously in this chapter. Yuchal, im Yuchal, if a person could. Ish, right, man. Lim not, that's the infinitive of. So mana mem nun hey is portion, right? Limnot means to number, to count to a portion. Let's look at the concordance briefly. Count, number, or reckon, right? Mem nun hey. And you can look there. Yeah. Limnot, if a person can count. Limnot with a vav, it's written bemilui. Et, direct object marker. Afar, again, dust. Ein pe resh. Haaretz. Et afar haaretz. It's in construct. It's in one smichut. Haaretz, the land. Gam zaracha yimaneg. Also, then also, right? Gam means and, means also, right? Zaracha, your seed, like we had before. Yimane, right? It's in the nifal. It's in the passive, right? Shall be, shall be numbered, or yes, could be numbered is within context, but literally it means will be numbered, right? So whether or not somebody can is how it would be, right? Let's look at verse 16 in the King James. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Okay? I like numbered better than count there. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted. I like numbered a little bit better there, but count also works. Chabad is also doing count. And I will make your seed like the dust of the earth, so that if a man will be able to count the dust of the earth, so will your seed be counted. So Rashi's saying Asher im yuchal, just as it is impossible to be counted, so your seed, and that comes from the Targum Onkelos. You can look at the Targum there. Okay, and verse 17. Kum hitalecha ba'aretz leorka ulerochva ki lecha etnena. Interesting. Okay, kum is the imperative of to stand, right? And actually, just like we talked about the refuah, right? The person who was able to stand and walk, right? Kum, rise. Hit ahalech, right? This is in the it is in the root is hey lamed chaf. It's in the reflexive form, right? So walk yourself, right? Hit halech, walk. Ba'aretz, so prepositional bet, it's with the article. So when we use the article with eretz, with land, we mean the land of Israel, right? The land we talk about in the Bible is generally the land of Israel. Le'orka, so prepositional lamed, erech means the breadth, right? Aleph, resh, chaf. Orka means her breadth, right, of the land, right? Because land is in the feminine, so orka would be her breadth, right? The land's breadth. Ulerochva, so rachav, you may you may recognize rachav. Resh chet bet is from the name of the woman from Joshua, right? Rochva, right? The width. So conjunctive of prepositional lamed. Rachav means wide. Rochba means the width, right, of it. Rochba. Ki, for, right, because. Lecha, so prepositional lamed. Chaf puts it in the second person masculine singular. Et nena, I will give it, right? So again, latet, we're talking about the root to give, right? Ten. Et means I will give. Et nena means I will give her, right? The aleph is in the first person collective singular. Et would be I give. Et nena, I will give it. Okay. Verse 17, arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give you it unto thee. Okay. Verse 17, go walk through the length and the breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you. I prefer I will give it to you. Chabad, rise, walk in the land to its length and to its breadth, right? They're using the prepositional lamed, that obviously I prefer that. For I will give it to you, right? Unsurprisingly, I prefer the Rashi. Okay, I mean the Chabad. Vayehal Avram vayavo vayeshev be'elonei Mamre asher bechevron vayiven sham mizbeach lahavaya. Right, and as always, Abraham is always thinking of God first. So conjunctive vav, the yud is putting it in the imperfect. This is the root is aleph hey lamed ohel, right? A tent. It's being used as a verb. So he tented. He moved his tent. He pitched his tent. Avram is his name. Vayavo. So conjunctive of again. The yud puts it in imperfect. The root is bet vav aleph, to come, right, without the vav as usual. Vayavo, and came, right, and went, came. Vayavo Vayeshev, so conjunctive vav again, the yud puts it in the perfect, the root here, shin bet, shin vav bet, yud shin bet, however you want to do it, and dwelt, I guess yud shin bet is probably right. Be'elone, so this is not conjunct, prepositional bet, Ilan is a tree. They're translating as an oak tree. Ilan, Elone means trees, because Elonim is trees, but this is Elone because it's in the construct form with Mamre, and Mamre is a place, right? The Elone Mamre, in the forest of Mamre, in the oaks of the Mamre, trees of Mamre. Asher, so right, pronoun relative, Bechevron. So this Asher is in a way being used to replace the verb to be, which in Hebrew obviously we don't have in the present tense. Asher Bechevron. So prepositional bet Chevron is the place within Bemilui with the vav, which is in Hebron, right? Chevron. Asher bechevron, vayiven. So conjunctive of yud puts it in imperfect, but it's being flipped by the vav at the beginning. The root is bet nun hey, to build. Vayiven, and he built. Right? Sham means there. Mizbeach, we've had many times. It's the altar. La havaya, so prepositional lamed, havaya being the tetragrammaton, and there is a petucha. There's an open space in the scroll there. That's what petucha means. There's an open space. Okay. King James, then Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. Okay. NIV. So Abram went to live near the great trees, Elonai, they're translating as great trees, of Mamre at Hebron, where he pitched his tents. There he built an altar to the Lord. Okay. And Chabad. And Abram pitched his tents, and he came. See, it's much more literal because I mean they're going off the Masoretic text, obviously. And he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron. So Elonei Mamre, they're actually saying is the plains of Mamre, right? Yeah, I guess Elonei. I think we've had Elonei before. It could mean plains. It could mean which is in Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Lord. Okay. Very nice. Another chapter, and hopefully this will be, as always, a blessing to you, especially in this time. And we will merit to soon see, as it says in Zephaniah 3:9, Ki az epoch al amim safa berra likro chulam b'shem havaya le'ovdo shchem echad. Right? So, thus I will turn over, I will restore El Amim to the peoples, right? All the peoples. Safa berra, a language which is clear, which is pure. Likro chulam, so that all of them may call B'Shem Havaya, in the name of the Lord, the Tetragrammaton, Le'ovdo, to serve him, Shem Echad, with one shoulder in one accord. Amen. Be healthy, be well, and remember, Ani Hashem Rovchecha, God is our healer, and He runs the world, and we must trust in Him. Shalom.